Welcome to the Masters Bikini and Fit Model Podcast, a show created to spotlight, celebrate, and connect the women who are proving that strong, feminine, elite physiques do not expire with age. I'm your host, Lacy Green, IFBB Pro, and I'm joined by my co-host, Kyla, Faye, IFBB Pro. Together, we're here to highlight the stories, experiences, conversations, and community behind the women of Masters Bikini and Fit Model. This podcast is for the women who are still dreaming, still competing, still growing, and still showing up with purpose. Because strong does not expire and dreams do not retire. Hi guys, welcome back to the Masters Bikini and Fit Model Podcast. I'm your host, Lacy Green, and with me is my co-host, Kyla Faye, and today we have a guest.
We do. We're so excited to welcome Rachel Farganis to our podcast today. So today's guest, let me tell you a little bit about her, is the definition of resilience, determination, and proving that it's never too late to chase a dream. Rachel didn't even begin her bodybuilding journey until she was already in the Masters division, and today she's an IFBB Bikini Pro, inspiring women everywhere to believe that age is never a limitation. If you've spent any time in the bodybuilding world, you've probably heard the incredible story of Rachel earning her IFBB Pro card with a broken foot, competing on stage in an orthopedic boot, y'all. It's one of those unforgettable moments that perfectly reflects her grit, perseverance, and refusal to let obstacles define her. But beyond the titles and the unforgettable moments on stage, Rachel is passionate about giving a voice to Masters athletes and showing women over 40 that they belong in this sport too. She believes our best chapters don't have an expiration date and that it's never too late to set a big goal and go after it. So Rachel, we are so excited to have you on the Masters Bikini and Fit Model podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Rachel, we're going to jump right into our signature question, and I may already know the answer to this. I don't know. We'll see if you surprise me. What has been one of your proudest stage moments, and why does that moment stand out to you?
Gosh, I mean, does it seem trite to say the pro win in a boot? I mean, yes,
that's what I would
epic.
guess. Yeah.
It is kind of epic. And I don't ever want to feel like I'm wearing it thin. But it's just one of those moments where it's not something that happens often or at all for that matter. But it is one of my proudest moments. That something, kind of really life altering happened 11 days before I got on stage for a pro qualifier, and I didn't let it stop me. And not only did it not stop me, it resulted in 2 pro cards and a national overall win. So that is without one of my proudest moments. But my pro win 2 weeks ago is right up there with it.
She just came out with a bang. Gets her pro card. Gets a pro win. But tell us, because this is such an inspiring story. It's how the algorithm just went crazy around you when that happened. I mean, so tell us what happened leading up, and your moments that I'm sure, like moments of doubt that maybe crept in when that injury happened. So tell us where your thought process was.
I mean, I think absent an injury, I think we all have moments of doubt leading into big shows. There's like, did I do enough? Did I check all the boxes? Could I have done something more? Should I have done something different? This was North Americans in 2025. So it was my 4th pro qualifier of the year. So I was already on that journey of self-doubt since I had, 4 pro qualifiers. Am I good enough? Do I have what it takes? Am I meant for this sport? Even though I'd up to that point missed my pro card by 1 spot 3 times that year. So it was 11 days out. I was stupidly unloading a barbell, and literally just, kind of elevated it in the air and dropped it on my foot. And the rest, as we know, is history. I shattered my big toe in 3 different places, and I couldn't, just from the swelling alone, I could not get my foot into opposing heel. So I think that was just a question of how do we navigate this despite knowing we can't do what we need to do to get on stage, just find some other way to do it. And even though I found out the same day that I injured myself that it was indeed broken, I committed to doing the show anyways. I hadn't even registered for it yet. I had my hotel and my flights booked, but I was waiting to register to the last minute. But the next day after I broke my foot, I registered. I forced myself to before I even had a solution picked out, because I told myself, we have come this far and we haven't put in this work and come this close time and time again to just walk away now when there's a hurdle in front of us. We're going to find a way. And so I found a way.
Yes, you did.
A big way.
So yeah, it's the boot. The boot is like, yeah, it's, I held on to it. I'll probably never get rid of
That
it.
was my next question.
You'll hang out with my trophies.
Tell me you held on to that boot, because that boot's the winning boot. I mean,
Yep. Just in case something else happens. You never know. I'm accident prone. I've dropped weights on myself in the gym since then. And there's never.
You know what, though? I think, Rachel, it's symbolic. One of the things that I teach my children is that watch how people handle circumstance and watch how you handle circumstance yourself. And when I saw that happen before I ever even knew you, but I saw what you did, I was like, wow, her circumstance was pretty bad here, but she didn't let that stop her. And that told me so much about you. That told me so much about you right there, because not everybody would have pressed on. You're a problem solver. You're not a quitter. And that was really neat to see. So if anything, you keep that boot and you can share that story and say, this represents what we do with circumstance. There's two paths. And man, I really like the path you chose.
I'm glad I took it. There's no doubts in my mind that obviously had I not gone, I wouldn't be a pro right now. This year would be very different and my life would probably look a lot different. I probably would have stopped, to be honest. That would have been the end of the road for me, because it was a long season. Running a national circuit is a lot.
Yeah.
So, had I not go through with that last show on my list, we wouldn't be in this discussion today. We wouldn't be sitting here. So I'm glad. There's no doubt in my mind that the right decision was made that day.
Oh my goodness, girl! I just kudos. Everybody's listening to this, clapping with us, because it's just something. It's something so magical that you did. And I want to go back to the point where Lacy said a lot of people wouldn't have done that. And I think to myself, would I have made that same decision? It's such a bold decision. And I think your mindset seems as though that it's like, well, what other decision was I going to make? Of course I was going to do that. Is that how you felt? Because you seem very of course,
No, because the alternative was like I don't go. And to me, that didn't seem like an option. It just genuinely didn't seem an option. So it was figure it out. It was just what was the solution? I was not sure. That would be whether it was some sort of modified heel itself. Yeah. And we tried those options.
What is that like?
Different actual.
Yeah. What options did you have? That's an interesting thing.
Yeah. My coach's wife came up with the first iteration where she cut the top plastic off of an old pair of heels so that there was nothing for me to slide my toes into. So essentially I could strap the heel to my ankle, but then my foot was just resting on top of the shoe. And then we would tape my foot to the shoe because it was too swollen to get into that plastic. And that worked. I could stand in it and I could on some level kind of mosey through my routine, but I could not walk. And to me, I was not willing to kind of need to have to hobble out on stage. Although come to find out at North Americans, the Expediters were the most amazing crew of individuals known to man. They offered to carry me onto the stage.
So sweet.
In hindsight, well, maybe I could have just used an actual heel and taped my foot to it. But what ended up working was realizing that I could walk really well and without pain in the orthopedic boot because it stabilized my foot. I couldn't bend it in any way. So I thought to myself, could I do this routine in the boot? And I tried that a few times, but there was such a height discrepancy between the heel and the boot that I was uneven, which made my glutes uneven, which made everything uneven. So I thought, if I could just somehow elevate this actual orthopedic boot to be the same height as the posing heel, maybe this could work. So that's when it dawned on me to put some sort of wedge under the.
So you did that
and see if it worked, and it.
Oh, so you kind of rigged the boot to fit the level of the heel.
Yes.
That is, I broke my toe on Thanksgiving morning. I just was avoiding my dog, and just my pinky toe just, Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. And I thought I was supposed to teach cycle the next day. Obviously, I did not. So I wore a boot like yours for several weeks after that. And when I saw you in that, I was like, how did she? Because I was always I was trying to find a shoe that was even with the boot. And
so you could
so you can walk normally. Otherwise, like your hips you start to get other elements because you're compensating, right?
Even.
So that's what I was wondering is I was like, how did that elevation, like how did that work out? And you put a wedge. Like how did you secure the wedge on the boot? I'm like so fascinated by this.
I ordered like a variety pack of yoga wedges. They're like, what you use to elevate your heels or your toes when you're lifting. I got like a 3-pack and I just found the one that kind of made the shoes the same height and I cut it down to size. I have a miter saw in my basement. So I just went down and I like literally cut this wedge.
Unreal.
She is a true problem solver.
She is you're incredible. Yeah, you MacGyvered it.
I just created something. But for 2 weeks, like I needed the orthopedic boot to actually walk in. So whenever I needed to practice, I took K-tape and I taped the wedge to the bottom of the shoe. I would, run through my routine and then untape it and go about my day. But I was worried about that being not secure at the show. So I bought a second orthopedic boot on Amazon. It's something cheaper and not as stable. And I used the original one that I got from the doctor's office. And the night before the show, I super glued the wedge on. And then before I went out on stage, I taped it also, just in case. I needed a backup because I was like, God forbid I get out there and the wedge falls off. And then
my God, no.
So,
okay.
So we just doubled it up.
So, everybody's probably mouths are dropping. Okay. Because this is incredible. Like you, just for that sheer fact alone, deserve 2 pro cards. So like kudos to you. Seriously, Rachel. Amazing.
I'm not gonna lie, there's a part of me, and this is probably like the whole imposter syndrome that I suffer from. There was a part of me that for a very long time, and maybe even still to this day, a part of me that believed they were like, oh, this is great. This is amazing. We're just going to give her the pro card. You were a cute little story. So luckily I've gotten past that a little bit now, or to some extent, but there's a little part of the back of my brain that was like, oh, it just made for a really fun story. So that's why you got a pro card, but they didn't have to give me 2 of them.
They did not. That physique and your presentation with the boot spoke for itself. So earned, definitely earned. Congratulations. That is so cool. So, I mean, we could talk about this. This is so interesting to me, but we want to move on to some other things that, that make you, but in the competitor field. So you started competing. Tell us when you started competing and why you started competing when you did.
Yeah. I kind of got into the scene of bodybuilding like in 2019. I knew somebody else that was a competitive bodybuilder, and it was honestly her arms. I was like, I want arms like that, like I have now. I remember seeing those and thinking like, I think I could do that. And I was a former college athlete. I ran track in college, and for the most part, my adult life was a whole lot of nothing, just being a mom and working. I didn't really take time for myself in that regard. But in 2019, I kind of thought like, okay, maybe I could do something like that. And I started training without much knowledge of what I was actually training for or training to do. And I grabbed a coach and I started prepping for a show. I started prep in December of 2019 to compete in March of 2020. And those shows never happened because of COVID.
I had the same experience.
Going through
that was my first show, was March 2020.
But going through that,
I feel you on such a level.
I did that and then still came back and did it again with the knowledge of like, oh, maybe the world's going to shut down again. Kudos to us, because I almost didn't do it a second time, because it's like, what happens if everything shuts down? And, I'm out 16 week prep and a ton of money, because I registered for shows that I never saw that money again. So there was a lot of me that was hesitant to ever dabble in it again, but I thought, why not? So I gave it another go and got on stage this time in 2022, did our local show here in Minnesota, and kind of thought I was just going to be one and done, like just go and do it, bucket list item, cross it off my list. I didn't do great. I didn't do awful, but I competed in, masters and open, and I finished third in both. But I think there was something about me that said, it's for people who love this sport, the second you step off stage, you realize like, I can't just be one and done. Like, this was amazing. This has like an addictive feeling to it. There's something about being on stage that is just otherworldly. So I was like, okay, we'll do it again next year. And so I did it again in 2023, same show here in Minnesota. And I finished exactly the same. So there was no improvement. But there was a fire lit under me from that. And I thought like, I think I can do better. And for whatever reason, I still don't quite understand. I went to Masters Nationals that year thinking I had what it took, even though I couldn't finish higher than third at a regional show. And surprisingly finished fourth at Masters Nationals, but the caveat being there was 7 people in my class. It was a very small class. So I can own that like a top 5 finish at a national show is great, but when you really only have 7 people, it's not something super great. But I remember leaving that show, and it was my first time, in a national show, something outside of the same regional show that I had done twice, thinking like, this world is massive and there's so much more to it than I have the knowledge of or the understanding of. But I remember making an Instagram post saying like, mark my words, I'm coming for a pro card. Like, I want this. And that's when I kind of dug in and said like, we have to do something different. Can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So I hired a different coach, a local coach, and he's the promoter of the show that I had done twice here in Minnesota. And I'd seen him backstage with his athletes and thought like, I think this guy knows what he's doing and might be helpful to have somebody that can, help me in person and see what we can do. And that, he knows it. Everybody I've talked to knows it. I'm confident that decision changed the trajectory of my outcome as an athlete, because he took me from somebody that had never finished above third place at a regional show to somebody who never lost a regional class after that. I just, we started working together. I never lost until we got to a national level, but it changed everything about the sport for me. I got a better understanding of training, a better understanding of being an athlete, like what it took to compete at these levels. And we just ran with it, and it's been nonstop since, and we're still working together. And now we've got an Olympia qualification under our belt. So we're
so cool.
It's been a journey,
but so incredible. Like, and it's so inspiring, Rachel, because there's a lot of people that get discouraged from maybe a journey like that, or people that are, they're like, am I ever going to get above third? Or am I, and would have maybe quit. And just don't quit. That's the moral of this story, is like, look what happens when you don't.
Yeah, I think there's something to saying like, well, I've done this and it didn't work, and then I did it again and it still didn't work. So maybe it's this that's not working instead of me. So maybe I changed the approach instead of continuing to try the same things and wondering why I'm not getting a different result. So it was find a coach that understood me, that understood the sport, understood training, and kind of see how we can change my effort on my end. Because I trained before, but I don't think I really did it with intention or kind of had the effort towards it, understanding of what I needed to do. Like, I didn't understand bikini. I was just like, hey, let's do this and have fun. So it really took some kind of sitting down and figuring this sport out before I started to really understand what was needed of me to get where I wanted to be. Even still, that's just the process. It's changing. Bikini changes. Bikini from 2019 is way, way different than bikini now. So I just stay on top of it and keep changing with the requirements, with what they want. But gosh, it's just, I love this. It's my favorite thing about, life some days. It's something that's just for me. And I'm really excited that I get to do it. It's just, I love the sport.
You said something I think a lot of the moms are going to relate to, because it's kind of how I felt too. Like, I was so busy doing things for everyone else. Mm-hmm. And then I finally found this thing for me, and it became more than, about competing. That's a great thing, but it's that lifestyle and that pursuit of a higher level goal that really gave me a feeling of purpose. Even though I had purpose as a mom and as a wife, it gave me my thing. And I love that about bodybuilding.
I think a lot of women our age that are mothers, that have kind of gone through like the dredges of early motherhood and kind of raising babies and lack of sleep and toddlers onto school-aged kids, I think we can lose ourselves in that sometimes. Like when you sit down, you add it up, like, oh, how many years did I spend pregnant or nursing or, postpartum? It's a lot. You look back and you're like, well, there was 6 years of my life and I really didn't kind of accomplish much outside of keeping humans alive, which I guess
Kind
is
of a big deal.
It's a big
you guys, I'm
accomplishment.
not a mom, but I would say that's a big deal.
It's a big deal, but sometime along that way, you're like, oh, well, I lost myself in that a little bit. And so how do we? And I can't go back and find the person that I was pre-kids because she doesn't exist anymore. So let's find who I am now, and this is who I am now, and I really, really enjoy her. So,
How many kids do you have?
I have 2. My oldest is just shy of 15, and my little girl just turned 11.
Oh, we have another common thing there. So my youngest is just shy of 15. That's a fun age.
No, it's not.
It's like
Thank
disagree.
you for telling the truth because it's so hard. Boy or girl?
He's a boy.
Yeah,
So
me
it's
too.
Lacy's. Why is it not a fun
Yeah.
age? I want to hear why.
Well,
Oh.
the boys, let's see, hormones are changing so much and
Yeah.
their size. Last night, I went in to hug him last night. I think it's a mama heart thing too, because for me, he's my baby. He's my youngest. So it's a little different maybe, but I went in to hug him last night. And when I see my kids in my mind, they're little, right? They're
Yeah.
little versions. And I go to hug him. And when I hugged him, I laid my head on his chest and I was like, oh my gosh, he's so tall. And I'm just like, how did this happen? That he's so big. He's like turning into a man. And I think there's a little bit of sorrow there. But with that, so the challenging part, of course, that's the challenging part for my mama heart. But the bigger challenge is we've got the testosterone starting to kick in, a little bit of attitude, teenage angst.
Oh, just all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
things.
It's a challenging. I mean, we were teenagers, so we know both sides of the spectrum. But man, is it hard sometimes when you say a thing and they look at you like you might be the dumbest person that ever existed? Because
Yeah.
yeah, it's a challenge sometimes, but we
Yeah.
make it. So
Yeah. And the things you tell them that they swear you never said, it happens on the daily. I'm like, oh, that's so weird.
Do they love that you do this, Rachel? Are they big fans of the bodybuilding world?
the thing, I think at this point, because I've been in it for so long, especially for my daughter, I don't know that she really remembers a time where this wasn't a part of my life. If I started this in 2019, she was 4 when I really just started to kind of get involved in it. So she doesn't remember. She does not remember a time where mom didn't go to the gym or mom didn't track her food. My son probably does, but at this point, it's been such a big part of our lives now since 2022 that this is just second nature for them too. Do they love it? I don't know. They tolerate it, so there's that. They haven't been to a ton of shows. They came to my pro debut, so they've only actually physically been in person at a show once. And I'll say that for me, it was one of the most magical shows that I've ever done to kind of it's a pro debut. I'm on stage with Olympians, but to look out in the audience and see my kids for the first time, that was just something I felt a sense of pride that I've never felt on stage before. And they'll be coming to my next show, which I'm pretty excited about. But normally they're just at home watching live stream because that's way more uncomplicated than trying to peak for a show with your kids in the room with you. Not ideal on any level.
I wouldn't think so. And then you have Chicago Pros coming up. So exciting.
Yeah, we leave tomorrow morning.
You leave
I'm so
tomorrow
excited.
for Chicago. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you most excited about with this show? It's a big one.
Oh gosh,
A lot of you guys.
It's huge. When I saw the list come out yesterday, I was like, holy crap, Masters is bigger than Open. What's happening
That's
here?
what we saw.
Yes, I'm here for it. I'm loving this. I'm excited to just get back up there and kind of see if we can put the feedback that I got at Indy into place and see how that kind of plays out. I mean, it's a different judging panel, so even if I implement the feedback, doesn't mean it's going to pay off in any way, shape, or form. But just get back out there and see, was Indy a fluke? Did that happen by accident, or can we run it back and see what happens for a second time? it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge because it's a 2-day show. I'm going to compete in open and masters. So that's masters on Friday and then try to recover somewhat and do it again on Saturday. But I'm really looking forward to it.
That's interesting. They do 2 days like that. I didn't know that. So have you ever done a show like that? You haven't yet, right?
No, I have. Hurricane Pro, which was my pro debut, was the same, but the timing was a little bit different. So it was, a night show for masters on Friday and then a morning show for pros on Saturday. So almost closer in time. And here I have just shy of about 24 hours before I do it again. So we're going to approach this a little bit differently. See if we can because by the time I go on stage on Friday, I will not have trained since Wednesday. And so we're going to literally get off stage Friday and then go and train. So that my body...
That's wild.
That's what I would have you do too. Yeah.
That's a good idea,
strategy.
But it's so foreign when you think about competing and right? It's so different.
It's I'm going to have to quickly rinse off the tan and then put on some gym clothes and go and train and then come back and redo the tan and kind of try to re-peak for the next day and hope that we can keep some fullness. And I tend to drop weight on show days because I'm not eating as much. So it feels like it's going to be a little bit of a puzzle to figure it out, but there's quite a few shows that do this. This masters,
it's an opportunity to learn. Yeah.
Great.
So I'm excited to kind of get some data on that point and see, because who knows, are the promoters ever going to realize that this is really hard on professional athletes that want to try to do both masters and open? This is especially female athletes. You got to tan twice. You have to do your hair and makeup twice. This is a lot. So I guess in the meantime, knowing it's probably going to happen again, just figure out what we can do, what little things work or what didn't work and take that data and use it for the next time we have to do back-to-back shows.
That'd be great if they could figure that out.
I'm such a nerd about that stuff. Yeah, I'm a nerd about that. That is so cool. And you know what? You can't lose anything. You're going to gain so much from that experience.
Yep. You're going to learn a lot about your body in that whole 24-hour span. But what's funny is about the promoter you mentioned, maybe hopefully the promoters catch on to this because there is a massive amount. I mean, when Lacy and I competed earlier this year at Wasatch, a lot of the Masters girls, almost all of them competed in open, and that was fit model. I mean, they all do both. I mean, so I kind of am I don't get that. Why it wouldn't be on the same, just a shorter time span because a lot of them do both. They don't just do masters. I mean, a lot of masters women do both.
Yeah, I think there's only 5 of us that are kind of crossing over and doing the second show in open, which surprises me because there's 25 masters. Even at Indy, I think there was maybe 8 or 9 of us that did both.
This isn't a money-making business, right? I'm not going to say they don't care about the athletes. They do. And there's great people behind all these and the promoters. But Rachel, we talk a lot on this podcast about promoters charging masters athletes. We're so hoping that changes and that they can get sponsorship. That's also about money too, right? That we learned a lot from Robin about that. Robin, who promotes Wasatch. And it's really a choice at the end of the day, whether they charge us or not. But Chicago Pro is quite up there in price.
They're all, if memory serves, they're all right around the 200, 250 mark. This is Tim Gardner is the promoter for Hurricane and for Chicago, so it was the same price for both registrations. And then I think I looked into a future show and just kind of ran through the registration process to see what it was, and it was a little bit less, but not by much. It was still $250, and I think with the fees that they added on, it was only $258. But I think I made a comment under something you had said, Lacy, it is more expensive to compete as a Masters Pro than it is as an amateur, and that blows my. I had no idea. I had no idea that getting my pro card and then continuing on in this federation meant I'm now paying more to do the same thing I was doing at that level. Yes, I am competing against a higher level of competition, but I have to pay more for that. It's true.
I think what makes it a little more muddy for me is that the open girls don't pay.
They don't.
And so what makes their pro card more important than ours? Why does that matter? We all got a pro card.
And we all are in the status, and there's just not another, we're all athletes. At this point, we're professional athletes. And if you look across the board of sports, there's no professional athletes that pay to play. That pay to perform. You just name a sport. Someone brought that up on their podcast. I can't remember who it was. I sent it to Lacy, and she did repost it. But he was like, listen, like that doesn't happen. Like these are professional athletes. You know, they've earned their place to play, and just as much as any open athlete has. So that's something that we hope to talk about in here, and we like to get opinions on it from other athletes because it only helps spread that word a little bit more, you know?
I feel like, and maybe it just feels like something has shifted in the last 24 hours, even in the industry. Just even with like Pro Bikini News Network and like.
You saw that too.
These pages that have never even acknowledged masters competition starting to mention masters athletes. And I don't know if it's like if it has something to do with like you guys making a name for masters athletes. And then there's another page that popped up, Masters Network or
Masters Physique Network.
Yeah. Yes. And I just talked to him last week, but I can't help but think that now that there's newer pages that are drawing attention to masters athletes, that everybody else kind of wants, they're like, oh, maybe we could get a piece of this pie too.
Yeah.
Let us bring them in and kind of highlight that they're worth having mention also, especially since they have their own Olympia.
Yeah. Which is a newer thing. Thank you for saying that.
Whole different topic.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. We appreciate that because this whole thing started Lacy in line. Lacy, I want you to tell her how it started, and because it's an interesting thing how this started. But we felt such a need because you often feel like, I mean, for lack of a better term, like the redheaded stepchild. You know, like the masters athletes when we work so hard. We train just as hard with way more variables, things going on in our lives, hormones and different things that go on with your body after 40. And so, yeah, we really wanted to bring awareness to this in a big way. And I have started to notice a trend of different pages popping up, big coaches, big name coaches in the industry talking about their masters athletes where I haven't seen that before or haven't seen them really promote much about it. And I'm seeing more of that. And I'm like, is this the algorithm or is this real? This is really happening. And it's so cool to see. It's so cool.
It is not a coincidence. No. I think it's in response to a niche being carved out and someone seeing it and saying, okay, maybe we've neglected something that has deserved attention for a really long time. And maybe we don't want to let it slip through our fingers. And so let's go ahead and get on that train too, which I am here for it. Like the more attention the masters athletes get, the better.
There should be attention to the masters athletes. I think that's where the dream started in my heart. Is as a coach, I would watch every weekend these shows and I would see these masters girls both in the NPC and the IFBB. And I'm like, dang, these girls are amazing. Why is no one talking about these girls? They're incredible. And it started to kind of irritate me a little bit, not even for myself personally as a 48-year-old masters pro, but for everybody else, I'm like, these girls are incredible. And I really started to get kind of a righteous anger in my heart for them. Like they should be highlighted. And then I thought, well, who's going to do it? And I'm a doer. So then it was all about logistics then. How do I do this? How can I make this happen? And I just knew when I went to compete at Wasatch, I was like, well, this ain't going to be about me. Nothing I ever do is about me. I like to highlight everyone else. And I'm like, I got to find somebody. Somebody will join in on this, I know. And I didn't even have to look hard. I just stood behind her in line. And there's Kyla. And I loosely said it, and she said it, and we were like, let's go.
Thinking the same, all of us masters athletes are all thinking, what the hell is happening? And Lacy brought it out of her beautiful brain and out of her beautiful mouth to me. And she knew right away. I was like, boom, like thoughts exactly. And then asked me to be her co-host. And I thought, this is exactly what this industry needs. Like, this is a passion project. This is not about us. This is about all of you because it's incredible. The women we talk to, I mean, their stories deserve to be heard. They deserve to be celebrated. And so thank you for bringing that up, Rachel, because it is something we're so passionate about because of all of you.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And I'm like, I feel like the moment I saw it pop up on Instagram one day, I was like, this has been missing. This is what has been missing from this journey, is just somebody somewhere that kind of focuses on the stepchild.
I know. It's the only way to say it, right? It's like, hello, we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that it's a business. Adding masters as a category in NPC is great because it's money. I get it. But if we can't have the same kind of advantage at the pro level, why even bother giving out pro cards?
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
Just
That's what I
Great
was
way to put
thinking.
that.
like find a different way to fund the open pros, but to put that burden on masters to fund the prize money.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
you know what? I'm going to throw a challenge out.
Hear it.
I'm going to throw a challenge out to anybody that's listening because I believe somebody's going to hear this. And you're going to know who you are when you hear this. Put some money behind it. Sponsor the Masters athletes only. Put some money behind it. Give them massive prize money. Do something for the Masters athletes, just for the Masters athletes. Because whoever does that, they're going to be the one that gets the big high five and the loyalty of all these amazing Masters women.
have you seen the show? It's coming up in a couple weeks in Florida, the Max Fit Pro.
No.
It's masters only. It's a pro show that's masters only. I think they have an NPC show also that day, but masters only. The payout for Bikini 40 plus is $10,000. Yeah, $10,000. It's $150K payout across all of the masters divisions, but I've never seen numbers like that for masters athletes.
That's
Ever.
incredible. So I need to stay on top of that because obviously we want to support a show like that.
Yeah,
That's the Max Fit Pro. Where's that out of?
it's in Florida.
Okay. Who's the promoter? Do you know?
That is a good question. I don't know off the top of
I'll
my head.
look it up. I'll
Not
look
a
it up, but
with.
that's incredible. Okay. Well, we'll make sure we're supporting them because here's the thing I know about Masters women. We're ferocious and loyal. And if you get on our good side, it's going to work out really good for you. Some sponsor will step up and they will never regret it.
Yeah, I don't know. I looked into it. I'm not sure where. I think the main sponsor came from a local gym that put up a decent chunk of change. Obviously, if it's $150K throughout the show, like that's a significant amount of money. I'm eager to see the turnout for that. I have a feeling it's going to be huge.
Yeah. And I want to get a hold of that sponsor and just let them know that, I wish we knew sooner and I want to support them moving forward in the future because that's incredible. That's incredible.
Robin, who promotes Wasatch, we talked about her a lot. She's one of our
Mhm.
faves. She was like, I just found money other places. That's where it's just, you just
She
find
said that.
sponsors. That's what she said. You can do that. It's a choice. It's not something they have to do. So I think that's really great that
Yeah.
we're putting a light onto that.
Jamie Sterling is another example of that. She did not charge her masters athletes. And to me, that it made the Indy Pro.
Indy
It made
Pro.
Oh, yes.
that or like meaningful in some ways. Like I'm coming to compete and I don't have to pay for this. It just felt yes, I'd done a pro debut, but that felt more like a pro debut to me than paying to show up at my actual pro debut. This felt like I'm here. I don't have to front any money aside from my hotel. And I get to just show up and compete. And that's the privilege that I've earned
Yes.
by being professional.
I like the way you said that.
beautifully
And
put.
that's how it should be viewed. Yeah, absolutely.
Beautifully put.
Standing ovation
Privilege.
for that.
Yeah, like literally, I want to
Yeah.
stand up. That's such a good soundbite for us, Rachel. Such a good soundbite for us because it's you earned that privilege to not have to pay to play. That's how I felt when I did my pro debut. I felt the same way. I felt like, oh my gosh, I didn't know either or.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, we don't have to pay because we're pros. And then I did my second show and I had to pay. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And
I didn't.
So
when I turned pro, I had heard that pros don't register to pay. So I was so excited, like, especially after running the national circuit when some of those single class entry fees are close to $400.
Wow.
I was like, great. I am very much looking forward to competing without paying out, $400 a class, $300 a class. And then when I went to go register as a master's pro, I was like, oh shit, I have to pay. How about that?
Yeah.
That was news to me because nobody talked about
that?
it. It was just pros don't pay, but when they say pros don't pay, they mean open. So,
exactly.
there's a difference. And maybe if I knew I was going to continue to chase this as a master's athlete too, maybe I wouldn't have, chased it so hard because it is, when you sit down and you run the numbers, it is more expensive to compete as a master's pro.
It is.
There's no
It
local
is.
shows for most. I mean, you're not like hopping into the NPC show at, down the street or a town
There's not
over.
a ton
So
of them.
for most, there's not a ton of master shows. So we're traveling. It's either a flight or a drive plus a hotel, and then you have to pay to compete. Where's the benefit of being a pro?
And there's
So
no difference.
there is no difference. I mean, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to only pick shows this year that offered both Masters and Open. I was not going to go specifically for a Masters show. Just, if it's free for me to register as an Open Pro, I'm going to do it and get, the experience, the stage time, the feedback, just see how that lands. Even if I'm not a top Open Pro, I'm just going to keep showing up because I'm going to grab that small benefit of being an Open Pro while I can and just run with it.
And even just taking that stage time, that's so smart. That's practice.
Really smart.
That's just more practice.
I think more people should hear that, that you said that, Rachel, because even myself, I'm like, should I just stick with not just stick with Masters, but just stick with Masters? I mean, I'm just being real. What's in my head? Like, am I going to have a, shot and open with all these young fit model hotties, and like all this, it's one of those things where you go back and forth, right? But you never know, right? And it just gives you more experience. I think your mindset is so good around, like, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. Just more time on stage, there's something about it, like just being on that stage with people that I've looked up to for 6-7 years. I'll take it, because most of them, even if there are some in the Open category that have done well for years now, even if they are in the 40 plus category, they're not dropping down to Masters. So I guess let's see how I hang with the big kids too while I'm at it.
I love that mindset. And I like what you're doing with that, because what you're saying is I'm building a strategy around this. Many people from the outside might go, gosh, why would a Masters girl get in the Open? It's not about how you place. It's a strategy to make us better for ourselves. So it's kind of like using them not using us,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's
that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
I
love
that.
Yeah.
Rachel,
Excellent.
I like the way you think. I think you and I think a lot alike. Okay, so I do have one question for you that I like to ask a lot of the girls. So many women are going to watch you and be so inspired by you, and they're going to think, oh, it's too late for me, or maybe I can't do this. What would you tell them?
Do it anyways. There's no such thing as too late. The best time to start is now. Could have started yesterday, but now that's gone. So the second best time to start is now. And you're not too old for any of this. I'm in better shape at 41 than I was as a Division I college athlete at 18. Like, that's just the truth, is that I have the understanding of my body in the way that I didn't as a teenager. I have the understanding of nutrition and training in the way that I didn't as a teenager or in my early 20s. Like, I have the benefit of life experience now that I didn't have then. I also have adult money that I didn't have then. So that's kind of fun too. Like, I get the privilege of doing more things now than I had the ability to even 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So, if you see it and you're like, I wonder if I could do that, just do it. Nothing says you have to be one of those people who right out of the gate win a show and turn pro in the same year. Like, this was a very long journey for me. This was not an overnight success story. It was blood, sweat, tears, broken bones, and a lot of losses. I have lost more than I have won in this sport. And that will probably be, something I put on my gravestone. Like, I lose more than I win, but it is the journey. It's the ability to give myself time and literally a thing that is just for me that I enjoy and I really look forward to. And that's worth it. So, just keep going. Grab whatever you have for it.
I mean, I'm inspired right now. That was so well said. Thank you. That was very well said.
Me too. Like, you're what do you do for a living, Rachel?
I'm a photographer. I photograph newborns for a living.
Oh my gosh. I just was curious. I'm like, what do you do? Like, you're so well spoken. I'm like, is she like a teacher or I don't know, motivational, gets on stages and speaks to people? Because you're so good.
Based on the way you think and the way you present, I would have guessed you as an engineer, because I'm married to one and I watch how you process things. I'm like, she's got to be an engineer.
No, I have and my undergrad is in political science and my master's is in public administration. And then I just decided I wanted to hold babies for a living. So that's what I do.
You can't beat that.
Nope, it's the greatest thing ever.
Awesome.
So
you're so versatile. That's like a lot of different things. Political science, that's like, I want to be an attorney. And then and then what did you say was your master's was in what?
Public administration. When I met my husband, we were both kind of in the same field. And there's just something about not having to people in the house that kind of study the same. Like, it's just too much. So
Right.
he's an attorney now, and I did not venture down that path. And I think it was probably for the best. It's a lot of
You only need one in the family.
well,
I have a twin brother that's one. You only need one. That's it. You're good.
yeah, we only need
Whole
one.
babies.
So yeah, I ventured down a creative path, even though I have, I'll hang my degrees on the wall in my studio so my clients can see that I have an education, and that's why they pay me money, so I can pay for those student loans that I don't use.
Yeah, that's my story, sis, because I was a registered respiratory therapist and no more. I'm not. And it's like, dang, paid for all that education for what? I mean, if somebody needed
experience.
CPR right now, I got you. That's
Yeah,
right.
but like
That's right.
saving lives, life experience. So I bet it helps you out in other ways. I mean, I know my mass communications does, I'm not necessarily like,
Well,
on
yeah,
the
it does. It
news.
helps us here.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to be,
That's so
a weather
amazing.
girl, or entertainment reporter, but that didn't happen. But this is way better. See? So it all means something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, Rachel, we won't keep you because we know you are planning to leave for your show. By the time this airs, Chicago Pro will be over, so I can't wait to see what happens. But listen, I told Kyla before you even got on here, I got high bets on you for those first call outs. So I'm excited to see how it goes.
I do
you.
too.
I'm excited too.
Are you wearing a new color suit, or like what's the vibe? Tell us some details. I know everybody doesn't like to reveal their suits.
Whatsoever. I am an avid, I don't know how to say, like, I like to purchase suits, and I buy them used, in part because it's just financially more responsible. And then I can kind of dabble and see what colors work better and what suit makers work best for me. So I did just buy a new suit. And this is after, embarrassingly, I'll admit, I had ChatGPT like change my suit color from Indy to see like what would a light blue suit look like on.
Oh, yeah.
Actually loved the mock-up it gave me, so I bought a light blue suit. It doesn't fit quite as snugly as some of my other ones, so if I can kind of set it up somehow so it fits a little bit better, I might end up going with that. But all of my big wins have happened in my dark blue suit. I won both of my amateur overall, my pro cards, and my national overall, and my first pro win was in this, used Toxic Angels suit that I have. So part of me says, just like, if it's not broke, don't
fix what ain't broke. Because you have that beautiful brunette hair, like you're beautiful.
I have
brunette.
an idea.
I love that.
Can I run an idea by you? So for the Masters show, wear the blue one, play it safe. For the Open show, experiment a little bit.
That's a good idea.
So that was the way, because I'm not going to wear the same suit twice. It's going to be disgusting after one day. So I have packed four suits just in case. Like, we always pack a backup just in case one breaks or something. But I have a red one that I've worn a couple of times that I thought might look good with the Chicago background. A purple one that I do most of my practicing in, and then the light blue one that I just bought. So I assume, I'll probably stick with Old Faithful for Masters, and then for Open, just roll the dice and see what, vibes I'm feeling that day. But
I can't wait.
So
that's good. We're going to be rooting for you. So hardcore. We're so excited for you. You're going to do great. Your foot feels good, right? You're feeling good?
Yeah. You'd never know that anything ever happened to it. Occasionally, like, when it feels like it's about to rain, it'll ache a little bit. I'm like, oh great, we now have like some bones in our body, like indications of weather. But
that's special power.
That's your old lady thing.
Yeah, that's right up there with all their aches and pains. 41-year-old. So
we love it. So tell us your words to the Masters athletes. What's your go-to? If you have a go-to phrase or a go-to thing that you want to say to inspire, or any words of encouragement, actually, for Masters competitors. We all need it.
Double back on all the things that I'm saying. Like, we are just as important as anybody half our age. And there's something almost magical about holding your own in a sea of people that have time and energy and flawless skin. There's something magical about being able to stand toe to toe with people you could technically be the parent of. And that there's no age at which this is impossible. If it's a dream you have, you might as well chase it. You're not getting any younger. So just, go have fun while you can. Do something for you. And, this is one of I love this sport, so I'm not going to say it's the best thing ever because I know some people don't view it as that. But if you adventure down this path and you love it, just keep going. There's nothing that's in your way aside from you to getting where you want to go.
Yeah.
I love that.
So true. Thank you for that. Rachel, you're a keeper. All right. Well, thank you for being, I think we're going to have you on again. I have a feeling.
Yeah, I feel like there's more to talk about. We're going to do post Chicago Pro or all of that and post Masters.
Yeah, so I will be here.
You'll come back, right?
Masters Olympia coverage.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah. All right, guys.
I have a sneaking suspicion things are just going to start picking up for the Masters athletes here. So
yes,
I do
yes, and yes.
It's going to happen.
I'm up for it. All right. Thank you guys for listening today. As always, I'm going to close out by saying I love you.
I love you too, and we mean it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Masters Bikini and Fit Model podcast. If today's episode inspired you, please share it with another athlete. Follow us on Instagram, and remember, your best years are not behind you. They're still being built. We'll see you next time. Until then, we love you and we mean it.